Warning: this documentary contains images of animal predation. Viewer discretion is advised. That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen on safari. It's hard to watch. This is nature. You do some crazy things and wow. I'm in Botswana on a mission to find Southern Africa's major predators. For the past few weeks, I've been exploring northern Botswana. I've seen some weird and wonderful things over my time here, including lions, cheetahs, and leopards. But I had no idea that my final stop would provide by far the most drama. And I still have one more predator to tick off my bucket list: the critically endangered African wild dog. Hello from the gate to Chobe National Park. Today is an incredibly exciting day. We have left Kwai Community Area and we're now heading into Chobe National Park. It'll be a few hours until we get to our campsite in Savuti. So we're going to take it nice and slow, see what animals we see on the way. We're going to be staying here for 3 nights, so we're going to have 2 full days to explore this area. I cannot wait to share it with you. My adventure begins as we drive north from the Mababe Gate towards Savuti. The landscape here feels worlds away from the lush Okavango Delta. It's dry and desolate, and yet somehow there is an abundance of life here. Giraffes in particular seem to love it here, including this romantic couple. We briefly pause for a delicious lunch in a scenic area before our drive to Savuti commences. We pass a roan antelope and a steenbok, 2 antelopes that I've never seen before we officially cross into Savuti. Savuti is already noticeably different from the areas of Botswana that we've explored. Rocky outcrops dot the landscape, a stark contrast to the flat Okavango Delta. We meander away from the main road and I feel like pinching myself. We finally found African wild dogs. This is incredible. We found the wild dogs after so many days of searching. Our first day in Savuti. We have come across them. There are a number of dogs relaxing here, including the pack's alpha female. She looks formidable with noticeable battle scars, including a torn ear and an injured eye. Her most notable feature is her coat pattern. She has a white half moon on her left side. Our guide tells us that the alpha female currently has young puppies, and this spot here is their den. I noticed some more dogs on the opposite side of the dried river channel. They're going in and out of burrows. Surprisingly, this is a second den belonging to the same pack. It's incredibly unusual for there to be more than one den for a wild dog pack, as only the alpha female is permitted to have pups. A subordinate female must have gone behind the alpha's back and had pups of her own. In a flash, the dogs are up, racing from the den site at lightning speed. They pass the second den before heading into the dried riverbed. We follow them and are shocked at what we find. The dogs have led us to a third den. This is extremely unusual. 3 dens belonging to the same pack puts a lot of strain on the pack. Each female dog gives birth to a litter of up to 16 puppies. 3 dens mean there could be as many as 48 puppies to look after, which means the adults are spread out between all 3 dens and the pack needs to hunt pretty much all the time to stand a chance of feeding themselves and the puppies. It's going to be a difficult time for the pack. Once again, they're off, streaking through the riverbed. The pack's demeanour has changed. They're now on the hunt. The dogs lead us straight to a family of elephants, including a baby one. They won't miss any opportunity for a meal. The elephant family are too formidable an opponent for the dogs, and they're forced to give up the hunt. The pack enters some bushes, which are concealing an old hyena den. At first, we wonder if they're looking for prey in the burrow, until we hear the unmistakable squeaks of wild dog pups. This is unbelievable. The pack has a fourth den. The hunt resumes, the dogs setting a brisk pace. We try our best to follow them through the woodland, but the terrain is challenging and the sun is setting, meaning our time on safari for today is running out. Chobe has a strict curfew and we have to be at camp before dark. As we leave the dogs, it's hard to feel disappointed as we've seen so much interesting behaviour already. And as we know the location of the den, we'll be able to check in with them each day. On our way back to camp, we pass this pair of Kori bustards, Africa's largest flying bird. At camp, we settle into our tents before enjoying a delicious dinner. I decide to set up my camera trap facing our camp's cooking area, curious to see if we get any visitors in the night. When I check the camera the following morning, I can't believe what I've captured. First, an African civet came to investigate, nosing around the campfire remains for scraps of food. It looks like he found a morsel. Half an hour after our civet left camp, a pair of honey badgers sauntered in, knocking over a bucket and investigating our recycling pile. Upon finding nothing to eat, they left. Wow, I didn't expect to see so much action in camp.
Good morning. We have woken up at 5:30 a.m. and I've got ready. It's now 6 and I'm about to have breakfast before heading out at 6:30 a.m. on an early morning game drive. I look tired, don't I? We've been doing this for quite a few days in a row now and yeah, I'm looking a bit tired. Anyway, hopefully I'll perk up as the day goes on. I'm really excited to see what we see here because so far it has been absolutely incredible.
Our mission for this morning is to find lions. A pride known as the Northern Pride resides close to camp. And it doesn't take us long to find them. All I can think is wow. With the golden sunrise filtering through the trees, this magical scene feels like part of a fairy tale. This is a lioness from the Northern Pride. She seems to be looking for something. Her belly is sagging with milk, telling us that she's a mother to young cubs. Perhaps she's looking for her cubs. A couple of times she looks up into the trees, almost as though she's picked up the scent of a leopard. We may never know what she's looking for. Her presence has alerted some impala, who let out alarm calls. They flee, but she's not interested in hunting. Heading towards the waterhole, the lioness gives up her search for now. This is one of 3 man-made waterholes in Savuti. The Savuti Channel, which flows through the area, used to run with water until it mysteriously dried up in the 1980s. It remained completely dry for 30 years before mysteriously filling up again in 2008. It has since dried out again, with no telling when it will next flow with water. As the channel is mostly dry, some intervention was required in order to keep the wildlife alive here, and so the waterholes were made. The lioness continues her journey. This time she's filled with purpose. 2 black-backed jackals watch her warily. We decide to follow her as she makes her way through a swathe of mopani trees. She's led us to an elephant carcass. Our guide estimates that the elephant has lain here for around 2 days, and that the elephant likely died of natural causes. This is a good meal for her. The lions of Savuti are famous for their ability to take down elephants, an extremely unusual behaviour. This skill can be found in southern Savuti, where a second pride known as the marsh pride live. It's the pride's huge numbers that enable them to take on such large prey. The calls of lions fill the air. Based on her unbothered reaction, it must be more members of the northern pride. But she has no interest in responding to their calls. Perhaps she wants this meal all to herself. Whilst watching the lioness feast, I notice a commotion behind me. I turn to see some jackals attempting but failing to catch a spurfowl. Better luck next time. We decide to leave the lioness to resume her meal alone. It's incredible how much we've seen in Savuti so far, and we've not even been here for a full day yet. We wouldn't have seen anywhere near as much wildlife if we didn't have a wonderful and skilled guide with us who is fantastic at wildlife tracking. We were the only vehicle with the lioness this morning. If you'd like to have your own safari of a lifetime in Botswana, click the link in the video description and pinned comment. It gives you the opportunity to get quotes from the same companies who I booked my safari with and who I most certainly recommend. As we drive on into the morning, we come across more lions.
This is incredible. We found this whole pride of lions here. There's a male lion right there. There's another one on the other side of the vehicle. And then there's a few females and a lot of cubs of various ages. And they're just feeding on this elephant carcass here, which looks like it could be a couple of days old. It doesn't have the best smell, but it's worth it to be here for this incredible sighting. So cute to see the young ones playing.
This is the Northern Pride. This group is led by a coalition of 4 males known as the Renegades, who are brothers. These males originally splintered away from the Marsh Pride. The pride looks to be thriving, some lionesses enjoying a wholesome elephant meal whilst the cubs play. It's so lovely to see the cubs playing like this and fills my heart with joy. Just then, one of the older cubs leaps onto the elephant carcass. I guess it must be a nice vantage point from up there. She uses the tough elephant hide to sharpen her claws. As the morning starts to warm up, one by one, the lions gradually retreat into the shade. One lion here in particular stands out to me. This impressive male is known as Scotty. He's the oldest and largest of the 4 renegade brothers and is the most dominant male. His name means sniptail, referencing the fact that part of his tail is missing. He marks his territory before he also moves into the shade. The arrival of mid-morning means it's time for a tea break. We have a brief moment to stretch our legs and enjoy a lovely hot cup of tea and some chocolate biscuits. Before we head back to camp for lunch, there's one last stop on our morning itinerary.
We've just stopped off at this place called the Baobab Gallery, which is a line of a couple of baobab trees. Now, this is one of the few places where you can actually find them now because the elephants absolutely love them, so have eaten them throughout the whole park. But the rocks here, which you can see around me, have protected these trees from elephant damage, and that is why they are still here to this day. The only ones you can find. They are so impressive, they are massive, they are funny looking, and yeah, it's nice to be here and stretch our legs.
Walking around, you can clearly see the elephant damage. It's incredible that this tree is still standing. The sound of tapping makes me look up. I'm amazed as I lay eyes on a cardinal woodpecker high in one of the baobab trees. It was nice to wander around and stretch our legs, but as midday approaches, it's time to head back to camp. We're on a luxury mobile camping safari where we're staying in comfortable, spacious tents. In my tent, I have a lovely big double bed and some tables on either side.
These flaps open, but I've shut them for tonight because it gets so cold, and I'm hoping it'll keep cold, but it's really hot in here right now. Then if we open this up, out here we have the shower. It's been so nice having it in the sunlight, showering in the sun. It's been so warm on the back of my neck. Toilet long drop, and then it's our little basin. When I do my teeth, I spit over there. We both do, you can see it kind of doesn't always work out. Yeah. Really nice this little place. We've got a trash can, and then this has been nice relaxing on these chairs. The little mirror for washing up. Good afternoon. We have had a nice little lunch break at camp, but now it's time to head back out. And this evening we're going to head back to the wild dog den, see what they're up to tonight.
When we arrive at the den, the dogs are relaxing. We recognise the alpha female who's sitting at the entrance to the den. One of the dogs is chewing on some impala horns, a sign that the dogs have had a successful hunt recently. As the temperature starts to cool, the dogs start to get active. Wild dogs are highly social animals with close-knit family units, and rallying together like this strengthens their bonds. As the dogs greet each other excitedly, I notice tiny puppies emerging from the den. I can't believe it. The puppies are so small and adorable. They must be only a couple of weeks old. The pack seems overjoyed with the puppies, each dog trying to get close to them. All members of the pack will typically help with the raising of pups. And as quickly as the cuteness starts, it's over again, the last fluffy pup disappearing into the safety of the den. Suddenly, the alpha female starts to move off. One by one, the rest of the pack start to follow her. Something's wrong.
Oh, over there. Look, 3 running, 4 running. 5.
You got a baby on his...
Oh my god!
One of the mothers.
The alpha female has a puppy in her mouth from one of the other dens, and the other dogs don't look very happy about it. What happens next completely shocks me. If you're a sensitive viewer, you may wish to skip this next scene.
Let's get back there.
It's eating it.
It's a grim sight. And whilst it may seem cruel, what the alpha female is doing here is ensuring her own pup's survival. With so many young pups in the pack, it's inevitable that not all of them will survive, as there's simply not enough food to go around. But by eliminating the pups from the other dens, the alpha female is making sure that all resources go to her puppies. Knowing why this is happening doesn't make it any easier to watch. This is by far the most shocking thing I have ever seen on safari.
That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen on safari. It's hard to watch, but yeah, this is nature. They can do some crazy things, and wow, what a sighting.
Our guide tells us that what we've just witnessed is extremely rare to see. And in all his years of being a safari guide, he's never seen it happen before. I feel a lot of different emotions right now. Once all the evidence of what's just taken place is gone, the alpha female settles down to rest, and the rest of the pack go out hunting. The setting sun is our cue to head back to camp for the night.
Good morning. It is 5:30 a.m. and I am just getting ready in the tent, and there are lions roaring all around me. I heard some, like over there, they sounded quite distant. There were loads of them all together. Then there was another one, sounded a bit closer. And then just now there was one that sounded really close. Okay, so here we are at breakfast. Got my cereals and I'm about to make a tea.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Cup of tea.
Yes.
Okay.
And you've got the toast.
Yeah, here's the toast.
Thank you. Right, breakfast has been had. It's time to get back on the road. We're going to first head to the direction which the lions were calling from, which we think is at the nearby watering hole. And then we're going to actually head to a different part of Savuti today called the Savuti Marsh, which is further south. There's a pride of lions there called the Marsh Pride. And we may have a chance of seeing cheetahs. So let's hop on in and see what we find.
We head in the direction of the roars, stopping every so often to check we're on the right track. A nearby roar tells us we're close. And then we see him. This stunning male is known as Waziba. He's one of the 4 dominant males of the Northern Pride, known as the Renegades. We found him on his morning patrol of his territory. He's scent marking, letting any intruding males know that this is his territory and to keep away. He roars as he goes, letting his presence be known to all. This is a real bucket list sighting for me. Every sighting I've had of male lions so far has been of them sleeping or resting. This is the first time I've seen an active male, and to see him roaring only a few meters away really is the cherry on top of an already perfect sighting. We leave him to continue his patrol alone and begin our couple of hour drive south towards the Savuti marsh. On the way, there's so much life to be seen, such as these kudus, jackals, impalas, tessabe, and wildebeests. One of my favourite sightings is of these adorable dwarf mongooses. Bird life is abundant here too. Lilac-breasted rollers are one of my favourites, and I also enjoy coming across this pair of Kori bustards. It doesn't take us long to find what we've been searching for. This is Garm, one of the 2 dominant males of the Marsh Pride. He's guarding a wildebeest kill that was likely made by the Pride last night. We notice movement around 100 metres away and so go to investigate. I can't believe it. It's more members of the Marsh Pride with another wildebeest kill.
So we have arrived in the marsh and we have come across the Marsh Pride. There's actually 2 groups right now. We just saw a male with a kill, a wildebeest kill, and we've just come across a male and a female here with another wildebeest kill which has a bit more meat on it. I think it was made either last night or early this morning, and we're just watching them feast here.
This male is known as Tsunami, and he's the Pride's 2nd dominant male. Tsunami and Garm have only been dominant males here for around a year. After the Pride's previous males, Sekakama and Tornnose disappeared. The Pride is clearly doing well under their reign. The Marsh Pride has a reputation for being formidable, being able to take down elephants, and catching 2 wildebeest in one evening is evidence of their strength. Tsunami watches as the lioness gorges herself. He doesn't join in as he's already eaten his fill. Male lions typically eat first. Despite being full, he will now stay with the kill, guarding it from scavengers such as these black-backed jackals. Finally satisfied, the lioness seeks out some shade, keen to get out of the heat. The shade from our car seems to interest her at first. but she soon changes her mind. There's a bush nearby, but there's already a jackal resting under it. The lioness wants it, and she won't let a jackal stand in her way. She starts to stalk forwards. The jackal runs out the way just in time, and the lioness settles down. Tsunami looks to the bush longingly. He's clearly getting too hot, but can't risk leaving the wildebeest unattended. I notice he's injured, his front left paw causing him to limp. Tsunami has an idea. He decides to drag the wildebeest towards the shade. He manages to drag it some of the way, but ultimately it's too heavy for him, especially as he's injured. He settles down with it once more, whilst the jackals look on hungrily. As we make our way towards Marabou Pans, we come across the lioness also heading in the same direction. Perhaps the bush wasn't private enough for her liking. She disappears into a thick area of bush. We arrive at Marabou Pans, the location of another man-made waterhole. It's a popular spot with giraffes and elephants. As the morning starts to heat up, we gradually meander back to camp, passing some warthogs, southern ground hornbills, and ostriches on our way.
So after a nice little afternoon of having lunch and relaxing, it's time to head out for our final game drive of the trip. Excited to see what we find tonight. Right.
Our first stop this evening is something a little bit different. This rocky outcrop is known as Bushman Painting Hill.
So we've arrived at this rock. There's some bush paintings up here left by the Sand Bushmen about 4,000 years ago. So we're going to go and have a little nosy at them. I'm going to go slowly.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's getting a bit slippy actually. I'm sitting in a funny place like this because the rock's so slippy that as soon as I let go of this I just slide down. But here they are. These are the rock paintings left by the Bushmen, we guess around 4,000 years ago. And there are several animals here. There's an eland, an elephant and a sable antelope. There's more over there, and there's a giraffe somewhere. But yeah, how cool is it? They're still here all those years later. It was a little bit of a scramble getting up here, but all good fun. And the views from up here are absolutely incredible.
I always find it so much harder getting down than getting up, but an ungraceful bum shuffle usually does the trick.
I'm a fast bum shuffler.
You really are.
There's no time to waste, as there's somewhere we really want to be before sunset. Back on solid ground, we journey one final time to perhaps our favourite spot in Savuti. The Wild Dog Den. It seems we're right on time. The dogs are starting to get active. The first puppy makes tentative steps out of the den. But he seems to be feeling a little shy. It looks like they may need some encouragement. I count 9 puppies in total. On wobbly legs, they make their way over to Mum for a drink. Whilst the puppies enjoy some milk, members of the pack start to arrive back from a hunt. The returning dogs regurgitate some food. This food is primarily for the pack members who have been guarding the den all day, including the alpha female. But the puppies are also interested in the feast and waste no time getting involved. Although some pieces are just a little too big for them to handle. Watching the tiny pups run around on stumpy legs fills my heart with so much joy. They're just so tiny and cute. When I booked my trip to Botswana, my main goal of the safari was to see some African wild dogs. What we've seen here has completely surpassed my expectations. I would never have dreamed of spending 3 whole evenings with them and to see such tiny puppies as well. This really is a dream come true for me. I honestly can't think of a better way to spend my final evening of safari in Botswana. As the sun dips below the horizon and casts a pink glow over the landscape, the puppies trundle back to the safety of the den. Our time with the dogs has come to an end. But there is still one last surprise in store for us before nightfall. As we journey back to camp, something catches my eye. It's hard to make out in the fading light, but we've come across a honey badger. This is my first time seeing one with my own eyes and not looking at one on camera trap footage. Okay, now that's the best way to end our final evening of safari in Botswana. I feel incredibly sentimental as we wave goodbye to our amazing camp team the following morning. I just don't feel ready to leave this magical place. Savuti has absolutely taken my breath away. On our way out of Savuti, we have one last run-in with the Northern Pride, who are playing right in the main road and causing a bit of a traffic jam. It's certainly a fitting end to our time here. But whilst we may be saying goodbye to Savuti, life for the animals continues as usual. Just a few days after we left Chobe National Park, we heard some news that left me speechless. The lions of the Northern Pride had discovered the wild dog dens. As the 2 species compete for food, lions will kill wild dogs whenever they get the chance. They raided all the dens that they could find, killing all pups within them. By some miracle, one of the dens wasn't discovered, and all puppies within that den were unscathed. It was the alpha female's den. I don't know if this was down to chance, or that when push came to shove, the dogs did all they could to defend the alpha's den. Either way, it's interesting how in the end, the alpha female got exactly what she wanted. Her pups will now get the undivided care and attention of the entire pack. Now that their location has been discovered by lions, the pack have moved the whole family to a new hidden den. I hope it remains safe and that the 9 puppies make it to adulthood. My safari in Savuti in Chobe National Park is going down as my most epic safari to date. Nowhere else have I had so many incredible lion and wild dog sightings. Whilst it's definitely over-delivered when it comes to lions, I didn't encounter any leopards here. Instead, my best ever leopard sighting took place in Kwai, which is right next door to Chobe. The question is Chobe better for safari than Kwai? You'll just have to watch this video next to find out.